Alright folks, welcome to FiddleHed Fiddle Lessons. We're now going to do a French-Canadian tune called Mouth of Tobique. I'm going to play the whole thing up to speed, and then after that break it down part by part very slowly for you. Okay, here we go. And then we start another A part. On and on. Alright, so without further ado, well, first I'll say warm up with the G major scale. Alright, if you have not used fourth finger before, you might want to do some exercises for that. But we'll get to that soon enough. And we're going to start now with the first quarter of the A part. With more flow. And a little swing added there. First 5 notes, open D, 3, 2, 3, first 4 notes. Then add open A. After that we have a 1, 3, 4, 3. If you don't know fourth finger yet and you want to just get started on the tune, you can use open E instead of A4. Different sound, and depending on how fast you go or how you're playing it, might be easier one way or the other. Eventually, recommended that you learn to use the pinky though. It's a different tone, it's warmer. Alright, and so this is hard if you're an intermediate. You may want to take a moment. Let's do this, let's loop on a 1, 3, 4, 3 together. And by the way, if you don't know fourth finger, again, you could use open E here. With the looping thing, try to just get to the point where you enjoy the sound that you start to get from playing one little thing and having it starting to sound better. Part of the key of learning this instrument, I think, is to play very simple things and try to just enjoy the sound of them without being too caught up in finishing. Okay? So let's move on. So far we have... You can probably stay with that bit a little bit more. Then after that, we're going to go 1, 3, 1, D3. Alright. Alright. And then after that, we're going to go open D, A1, D3. There's that again. By the way, all left-hand fingerings in the description field below. So the second half of the first quarter is first half was then Now let's put it all together. right, let's move on to the second quarter. If you're unsure of anything in the first quarter, pause and practice it right now. With more flow. Starts on A, open, 1 open. Add D3. Good. And then add D2, open, 1, 2. So far we have. Okay. And then next we're going to start D3 and walk up the G scale. That's why I make you do the scale at the beginning. The scales come up over and over again. And what I hope to have happen is that you see how scales can be fun and cool because how they are interconnected with these tunes. They're not just some abstract means to torture you. They're actually music, if you can hear it in the song. So here's the second half of the second quarter again. Okay, let's do the whole second quarter slowly together again. All right, pause if you need to work on the second quarter. Third quarter is the same as the first. Let's review it. Now we'll do the fourth quarter of the A part. With more flow. So the fourth quarter begins like the second. This much is the same. And then what's different is at the end of the fourth quarter we go A1 open, D2 3. Here's that again. One more time through the whole fourth quarter. Okay, I'm now going to play the entire A part very slowly. Feel free to just listen or play along if you're ready. And if you're unclear on any of these parts, now would be a good time to pause the video, go back, review those parts on your own. All right, let's do it. Come on. A part, very slow. All right, let's move on and do the B part now. Okay, with flow. Okay, so starts the pickup, E open 1, and then we're going to do on E, low 2 1, low 2 3. So far we got. Next comes a tricky part. We're going to go E low 2, A 3 1, E low 2. So those 4 notes are tricky. Let's loop on that now. So far in the first chord of the B part. Let's move on. What comes next is E1, A3, open, A3. It's pretty tricky too. You may want to spend time with that as well. And then we're going to end with E1, low 2 1. So this whole second half of the first chord of the B part. Once more. Before that we had. And then. Okay, one more time, I'll play the whole first quarter. Let's move on to the second quarter. With flow. All right, so we're gonna, this first little part I think is tricky. Open E, A low 2, open A, D3, D2. Let's just do that a few times together. And again. And again. So just a note, sometimes when you set up a loop, it's useful to have a little gap. Maybe it's an odd number of notes, like that's 5 notes. You can still make a loop out of it. Even if you don't have the gap, you can make a 5-note loop. But sometimes it's nice to work in a little rest in your loop. So give that a try. All right, so adding to that piece, we're gonna do on the D string, open 1, 2. So we have. All right, again. Okay, and then we just continue up the G scale from D3 again. After that. So let's put together the second quarter now. Cool. Hold on. Come on, kitty. All right, now we're gonna do the third quarter. Third quarter is the same as the first, but let's review it. Okay, now we'll do the fourth quarter of the B part. Okay, so this starts like the second quarter, but then it ends like the fourth quarter. The whole thing. So, as you do more and more fiddle tunes, you'll start to notice patterns emerge and patterns within tunes. And it's useful because it'll make it easier for you to pick these up. So one thing it's useful to notice, say, is that on the B part, second and fourth quarters are very similar. They begin the same, but they end different. And it's the same thing in the A part. The second quarters are roughly the same with different endings. And then if you compare the A and the B parts to each other, you'll notice that the second quarter of the A has the same ending as the second quarter of the B, and the same goes for the fourth quarter. If that didn't make any sense, what I just said, you may want to just study the tabs below in the description field, and you'll start to see how the patterns relate, how they're connected. And so you don't have to know that to know this tune, but being able to start to recognize that, and that's a lot of what music is these sort of like changing patterns, it'll make it easier for you to learn other music, all right? So now let's just do the entire B part very slowly. As usual, if you find you get stuck on any one part, pause the video and practice that part instead of completely fighting your way through at this point. Make sure you can really do each quarter. All right, here we go. Glad you made it to the end of this cool tune, and we'll see you next time. FiddleHed, so long.